If you're on the verge of retirement, thinking about retirement, or maybe you've just recently retired, then this video might prove pretty useful for you because there's a lot more than just sorting out the finance. If anything, that's what the focus of this channel is about. Well, a lot of the videos anyway, life in retirement beyond just the finance. Other channels will give you financial tips and advice you need for thinking about retirement or early retirement, which is great. But to be honest, I'm not qualified for all of that. But I do understand the other often overlooked planning you need to do. So I thought I'd summarize a lot of what I cover in my videos into a sort of top 10 crucial things to consider beyond the finance for a better retirement at whatever stage of life it comes for you. So to all the odd comments saying, your videos are too long, this one's nice, short and simple. Let's talk about it. So we all get to that stage, don't we, when we think about retirement, about the number, you know, the magic figure that your investment account or your, self-typed Excel spreadsheet, if you're anything like me, says, congratulations, the maths all adds up. You can do it. Yay! And for years, maybe decades, the entire conversation when it comes to retirement has been about, hitting that number. What's the finance? How much money do you need? And of course, that's hugely important, but it's not the only thing to consider in your overall should I retire / not retire equation. Because what happens the day after you hit that number? What happens 6 months down the line after the novelty of not having to set an alarm anymore soon wears off? The story we're sold from pension companies and articles and YouTube videos is one of endless vacations, beaches, hobbies, freedom, And the reality for a lot of people can be, well, a little different from that kind of Instagram pension brochure view of retirement. It can feel a bit aimless, a bit empty, a bit grey, like today. Oh my God, it is a grey day. Whew. In making videos for this channel and exploring my own sort of mental journey and sharing it with you all about early retirement, it's become apparent that for me, a truly successful retirement isn't just an escape from work, right? But an intentional move towards a life that you've designed deliberately for yourself. So a deliberately designed life. So today, let's forget the spreadsheets for a bit. Let's forget one of my long-winded TED-style lecture walk and talk style rants. I'm keeping it simple, okay? And I'm talking about the 10 crucial things you need to plan for beyond the balance sheet to make sure that your next act is an absolute masterpiece. Let's dive in. Number 1, prepare for your identity crisis. For most of our adult lives, as I've mentioned before, people always ask, what do you do? And you answer with your job title. I'm an engineer, a teacher, a policeman, a civil servant, a sales exec, a plumber, whatever it is. That title is shorthand for our skills, our social values, our place in the world. It easily places us, When you retire, overnight, poof, it's gone. And this can trigger what psychologists call an existential vacuum. It's more than just boredom. It's a feeling of, who am I now, The advice to, get a hobby often falls short here because sometimes it's not just enough to get a hobby because a hobby can fill your time, yeah, sure, but it doesn't necessarily build a resilient identity for you. I mean, what? Jigsaw puzzle specialist. Although I do see doing jigsaws now is a sport. I saw on YouTube, they have competitions and everything. Crazy. The real task is to consciously redefine yourself based on your values and your passions and not on your business card. And it might take a while. I wrote a book, a very, very basic book about ikigai, the Japanese concept of purpose and fulfillment. Available in all good bookshops. Well, Amazon, I'll put a link in the description. Anyhow, right, in very, very simplistic terms, and I mean simple terms, ikigai is about unearthing the unique blend of your talents, passions, values, and learning to align them to find your life's purpose. Your ikigai. Ideally, you do that, as your job, and then that becomes your life, but that's very idealistic, of course. And the reality is most of us sort of stumble into our career or job, and then that's it for the next 20 or 30 years. That's kind of what happened to me. I wanted to be a film director. ended up being a media lawyer. And now, though, it seems, in retirement, for me, my ikigai seems to be exploring the sort of philosophy of this stage of my life and making YouTube videos. This is my ikigai for now. Number 2, brace yourself for the emotional roller coaster. It's going to be an up and down one, maybe a bit of a corkscrew. The first few months after retirement are often called the honeymoon phase. And, you know, look, no denying, it's absolutely amazing. No commutes, no deadlines, no office politics, no boring Teams meetings. But for many, you know, this novelty soon wears off and it can lead to a dip characterized by sort of aimlessness and boredom. And you know what? That is totally normal. It's totally normal to feel a sense of grief and loss of your old life. Even if you hated your job and you desperately wanted to leave it, you can still mourn that old life and miss your camaraderie of your kind of work colleagues and all of that. So it's understandable that this dip is a predictable part of a major life transition that is retirement. You know, it's absolutely key. You have to go through the process. It's not a personal failure. It's a natural stage adjustment, and recognizing it as the natural adjustment it is crucial. So be ready. Number 3, get ready for the relationship reset. This is a big one. If you have a partner, you might go from spending hours apart on weekdays to being together 24/7. This can put a real strain on the relationship, especially if you don't talk about it. You have to consciously renegotiate things like, you know, personal space, daily routines, and even who does what chores, you know? If you retire together, all of a sudden, after years of living your separate career lives, are you ready for that 24/7 contact? It might be fun at first to maybe rekindle that old relationship, or it could destroy it. Oops. Again, just be aware. And then if one of you retires and the other doesn't, what's that new dynamic going to look like? I mean, you can see this honest chat I had with my partner here in this video. Check this video out here. And then, of course, they're your friends. Your work was probably a major social hub for you. And those friendships are built on a shared daily life. Well, they can then start to fade. Suddenly, you're on a completely different schedule from your still working friends. This is called social desynchronization. I mean, every coffee needs to be planned weeks in advance because, yeah, you've got all the time in the world, but they're working. The solution is twofold. Be really intentional about scheduling time with old friends and start building a new tribe of people who are, you know, similar, more flexible schedule, and a schedule that's more in tune with how you now live. Nice little boat here. We'll put that in the background. Okay, moving on to more constructive stuff. Build a purpose portfolio, not just a hobby. I love this concept. I mean, during your career, your purpose is often monolithic, you know? It's all tied to that one single job. There's a single point of failure. A more resilient strategy is to build a purpose portfolio, diversifying your time across several different areas of meaning for you. This is more than just finding that one idealistic purpose, your ikigai, as I mentioned before, because you change as you get older, you adapt. It's about a collection of mini purposes. For instance, you could balance a physical pursuit like, I don't know, hiking or cycling with an intellectual one like learning a language, which I keep banging on about, Japanese, a creative one like photography, a contributive one like volunteering. This way, your sense of purpose isn't dependent on a single activity, and it can adapt if your interests or abilities change, as inevitably they will. Some of us are like Toad of Toad Hall, you know, jumping from one fascinating hobby to another fascinating hobby, you know, like even Toad of Toad Hall was into barging once upon a time, and then next minute he's into sports cars. On the other hand, others of us are obsessive about their new one hobby, you know, that they found, and it just becomes sort of a single obsession. But having a purpose portfolio is really, really useful. Okay, number 5, as I navigate this slope, master the anchor and flow routine. Woo-wei. The paradox of retirement, of course, is that total unstructured freedom can be paralyzing. But the solution isn't to replicate a rigid 9-to-5 schedule, which I've mentioned before, but to find a nice balance. Some guides call it the anchor and flow method. You establish a few anchors in your week. These are non-negotiable activities, yeah? Maybe a fitness class on a Tuesday and Thursday, a volunteer shift down the local charity shop every Wednesday morning. These anchors create a gentle rhythm for you. And then the time between the anchors our time for the flow, for the spontaneity, the hobbies, or just chilling out. It's the perfect way to get the structure you need while maximizing that freedom that you've earned. Now, I've described this in detail in other videos about building a light scaffolding, you know, a little structure, but not too much. Number 6, write a legacy list, not just a bucket list. We all know that the bucket list, you know, travel, nice dinners, experiences, all those are great, love it, yeah? But a life built only on consumption can start to feel a little hollow. Check out my video about bucket lists here. True long-term fulfillment often comes from goals that involve growth, challenge, and contribution. So, look, it's okay to have 2 lists, you know, if you really want a bucket list, you know, and that's important to you, fine. So it's okay to have 2 bucket lists if that's important to you. The bucket list is for basically what you want to have, all right? The legacy list is for who you want to become and what you want to create.
What are you doing?
I'm just making a video.
Oh, you've spoilt it now.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right, that's all right.
You're making a video.
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's called Level 50 Lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's all about early retirement and life post 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I come for a walk and have a talk. Yeah.
You get interrupted by people.
The legacy list is for who you want to become and what you want to create ultimately. Legacy lists might be things like become conversational and in Japanese. Oh, I'm a long way off. Mentor a young person in your former field, whatever. Train and complete a 10K race. This ensures your retirement is not just fun, but deeply meaningful. These are things that you want to do, particularly, not to showcase them to others, but things that you want to do. Number 7, adopt a pre-hab mindset. Oh my gosh, health is the true currency of retirement. It's the foundation of everything else, trust me. It gives you the ability to do all these things. In the research that I've done, it's about thinking in terms of pre-hab, yeah? So basically proactive rehabilitation to prevent future decline. You know, weight becomes harder to shift and muscles deteriorate really quickly unless you stay on top of it. Basically about investing in your future self. This means a balanced routine with cardio, strength, and flexibility training. A lot of people miss off the strength training because they think they have to go down the gym and with all the gym bros and all of that kind of stuff. But that's not it. And strength training as you get older is super important, so do not overlook it. Balanced fitness is key. It means focusing on things like nutrition. Now you have the time to cook. You've got no excuse, you know. It means prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you know, quality sleep, which is non-negotiable. You know, I read before I go to bed to kind of relax the mind. And I've been taking these NMN tablets, which are kind of meant to help with cell regrowth and stuff like that. But for some reason, they also really help with sleep at the end of the day. The next one ties in with the social side of things. Yeah, it's number 8, find your third place. Psychologists talk about the third place, a sort of a social hub that isn't your home, you know, the first place, or work, which is the second place. When you retire, you lose that main second place, which can lead to a serious sense of isolation if you don't get out there and do some stuff. So if your goal is to intentionally find a new third place, this could be a gym, a volunteer organisation, a local library, a pickleball court, because that seems to be all the rage. Anywhere you can have a regular, informal social interaction. Joining clubs or taking classes based on your hobbies is the most natural way to do this. It doesn't feel forced because hopefully you're doing something that you love. Number 9 is ditch the scarcity mindset. This one's really fascinating because probably for some people who kind of, especially who are into early retirement, you've had decades of training your brain that spending is bad and saving is good, especially if you've been focused on, you know, FIRE, financial independence, retire early. You know, it can be incredibly hard to suddenly flip the switch and then to start actually enjoying your money without the guilt, even though you've kind of calculated that this is what you are meant to be doing. Many early retirees regret being hyper frugal to the point where they missed out on life. I don't mean going out there and splurging at all. I live a frugal life in order so that I can have a retired life, but I just focus on where I want to spend that money, and it gives me value and it gives me joy. I mean, I have to draw down on my savings to top up my pension, and that was all part of the big calculated plan. So it shouldn't be any surprise because that's how I planned it. But still, the brain does struggle every time I have to sort of diminish my savings pot slightly. It's not always a nice feeling, even though logically it's exactly how I calculated things would be. The key lesson ultimately with this is to shift your focus from maximizing net worth to maximizing net fulfillment. You have to give yourself permission to spend on experiences that create the memories and strengthen relationships. That's the whole point of the money in the first place, yeah? Convert it into a life experience, this second act of your life. And finally, that brings us to number 10. Finally, Clive. Basically, plan for the life, not just the escape. If there's one overarching theme in this and across many of my videos here, it's about a common regret among retirees is not having a non-financial plan. They're surprised by the emotional and social challenges because all they've done is plan for their escape from their career or their dead-end job, not for the life that they were going to be building towards. A successful early retirement is a masterpiece of life design. It requires just as much thoughtful planning as the financial side. And trust me, if you are planning to retire, I bet you've put a lot of time into the financial side of things. The goal ultimately isn't just to stop working. It's to start living more intentionally and authentically than ever before. I don't apologize for repeating this in my videos. The sooner you start planning for it, the better. Even if, as it most surely will, it will change when you actually retire. Still plan for what your new life will be, and then just go with the flow. So there you are, 10 crucial things you should think about before retirement beyond just the finance. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about that and what you did when you were planning for retirement, etc., etc. All of that, put it in the comments down below. And of course, if you like this video, do me the great honor. Could you hit the likes? I like it, YouTube likes it, and it helps people like you find content just like this. And if you're new to my channel, then do me the great honor, arigato gozaimasu, please hit that subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you'll know when I go live with videos just like this. Talking of videos just like this, why don't you check out the videos right here? See these ones here? Oh, Lordy, you'll love them. Thanks for watching.